So I'm trying to get as many questions as possible. We'll probably take a round of 3 or 4 questions and then we'll answer, and we'll work in that fashion. But please, I implore you, no 2 questions in 1 question. Ask a clean question that is direct so that we can keep the show moving. I think through that triangulation, we'll be able to get the depth of engagement that we're looking for.
Good evening, everybody, and good evening to Mr. Pityana. I have a very simple question. I think the biggest problem in South Africa is structural inequality. After Zuma's gone, what's next for Sipho Pityana?
My question is, why is it taking so long to act?
After Zuma is gone, you did mention that ANC has policies that are obviously good for the prospect of this country. But do you think much will change, and what hope do we actually have that things will improve once he's gone?
I agree that South Africa, the nub of the problem in South Africa is the legacy of inequalities in society and the structural inequalities. And I believe that that's exactly what we should be addressing. How do we lift the ordinary citizens? How do we lift the poor? How do we address all of those issues? And all of us, like you've indicated, made a fantastic contribution when we looked at this with the conversations around the National Development Plan. And a great deal of that began to look at what we did in thinking that we're going to address this in the first period, where we failed, how we can retrace our steps, and how we can correct that. That blueprint is there. With all its inadequacies, it is the beginning of the vision of how we deal with these things. And the point I was making earlier is that even with that, we do not have capacity in the state to take that forward, to take the most rudimentary aspects of that forward. Let me give you an example. Everybody talks about this. One of the biggest crises that we face is in education. And you can't deal with inequalities without dealing with education. One of the key crises is around health and delivery of quality health service. Access to water and all of those kinds of things. Those are some of the things that's where the rubber hits the road in terms of upliftment of the poor. We have a blueprint in the National Development Plan. As I say, I'm one of the critics of it, but I think that it does possess some of the rudimentary answers beginning to take us in a different direction with regard to that. We are not capable of doing that. There are a whole range of reasons why we're not. And part of that is to do with a government and a state that is obsessed with every opportunity is about siphoning of resources. As a chairman of Anglo Gold Ashanti, one of the things that I drive and I'm passionate about is dealing with labor sending areas. I will tell you this, that we build schools in some of those areas. And we build those schools at 1/3 of the price that government builds them. And when we talk about that, the government guys say to us, please don't talk so loud about this, it embarrasses us. I said, no, we must talk about it because it means that every school you build, you could have built 3. So the thieving that is taking place, you should be asking us how we do it and use that to hold the guys that are taking the money away from the system. So part of the challenge is that we are not able to confront these problems of inequality because we are preoccupied with self-service and self-aggrandizement and corruption.